After the fight, you had some words for Conor McGregor. Of course, you're being asked about him over and over again. Do you think he has anywhere to go, or are you confident that he will be fighting you next?
Check. Straight up, this is chess, man. You got nowhere to go. You're in check. So you need to defend. Don't vacate the thing, because you know what? This isn't about the money fight. What it is about pride, man. You don't want to see me holding your real belt, buddy. So you need to defend it. And if you want, go ahead and just leave it right there. Sit it down and just walk away, okay? Just sit it down and walk away. Nobody will get hurt.
Do you get the impression that Conor will want a challenging fight like yourself, or that he will walk away from it?
I know Conor. Conor's a gamer. He's an athlete. And as much as I talk and everything else, it would be the most impressive game fight in the world. And I feel that if he wants a game opponent, you can't go to Nate. Nate's not your game opponent. You want a righteous opponent. You want somebody who wants to talk. Look, I saved some of my best material. I was quiet this whole entire time, man. I was saving some of my best material for you, buddy.
So if you start hearing things about Nate, will you start talking up, or do you feel like you've done the talking, though? That is the talk right
This is what it's about. You have an interim title. I'm not hurt. I'm definitely not hurt. They didn't give me any disciplinary, no violation, no nothing. So if I'm not hurt, you need to defend, straight up. So that's in the rule book. UFC, I didn't write it. UFC did.
Dana White has said...
And you trained through it. You said it happened in the Diaz 2 fight as well. What do you now take away from that and do differently to try and avoid that scenario happening again?
30 minutes that fight went on for, Caroline. That's the longest I've ever fought for. 25 minutes is an MMA fight, the maximum you can go. And I went that with Diaz. That was also the longest. And then this one, just under 30 minutes. That's a long time to be fighting. That whole camp was built around getting to 12 rounds of fitness.
Yeah.
To get to the 12 rounds of cardio, it's not an easy thing to do to get to that level. You know what I mean? So I had to climb and climb and climb. Now, my coach will say what I was doing beforehand. Maybe I wasn't as dedicated as I could have been out of camp. But it's hard in the position, you know what I mean? I've already done it all. I'm already a two-weight world champion. I'm sitting on such a pile of everything, you know? It's a hard one to stay fully focused, so. Yeah. But I went in there and I gave it absolutely everything. My team gave it absolutely everything. That's it. I hold no regrets, you know? If I'd done it again, what I would do differently is I'd have pressure fighters coming at me. Okay. In the camp, we had fighters in the Philly shell, similar to the style that he always fights, or fighters against the ropes. But never fighters, well, we did have fighters coming forward, like with that style, the way he eventually went. But that was only in the early rounds. Early rounds, I'm eating guys alive there. It's when I get tired, that's when I need to bring in that fresh body who's gonna sit on my chest and let shots fly. And if I'd done that alone would have made that the easiest fight of my life. Because make no mistake, Carl, up until like round 5, that was the easiest fight in my life. I could see everything he was throwing. I was cracking him easily. It was only when I started fading and he started leaning on me and started coming forward in that Mexican style that I started to fade. And that's it, so. That's what I would do differently. I'd have people come pressure me when I'm tired instead of early, so.
Well, you're always pushing the boundaries with the training and the techniques that you're using. You're at the UFC High Performance Center. You know, we saw you sort of running underwater on treadmills, doing all this crazy stuff. Is there anything from this training camp that you can take into your UFC training camps now, sort of new skills that you learn?
I built an incredible engine. Make no mistake about that. Although 30 minutes is, I went 25 minutes, I got into the best shape of my life. So I'm just gonna keep going with it, And then also know that, like in this camp, it was like round 1 to 8 was the fight. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 was my friends, more people I'm comfortable with, just to get to the 12th round. Because I had to get to the 12th round in sparring comfortably and safely. And if I'd done it too early, I could have picked up an injury, lost out on the fight, lost out on the whole event, and hampered everything. So that was the goal. This time, I'd probably switch it around. I'd have round 1 to 8 heavy, real competitive, and then I just have a heavier opponent on me, putting the pressure for the last 4 rounds, and I just have to survive in there. And I honestly, truly feel if I'd have done that, I would have been laughing in that fight. But look, you live and learn. That's what we say. You don't lose. You either win or you learn.
Yeah, and that saying has taken you well through your career so far. We have some water, please.
Look. Nah, vodka and orange. Look that. I'm squeezed into this suit. I got this suit fitted. about a couple of months ago, and I'm squeezing into it now.
Is this one of the McGregor-Augusto?
Yeah, this is
suits?
an August McGregor line. It looks like the tartan for the Scots. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that. That's why I rocked this one.
Look, you may have bought a suit. Mayweather's put an...
Conor, you know, but right now I'm not worried about him. Right now I'm worried about just holding this and then showing my baby boy as soon as I get back.
First off, where's the sunglasses at? We all have our sunglasses. We're ready to pop them on, and you're not wearing them right now. Congratulations, brother. We saw you go for a lot of submissions. We're used to seeing you do your dart choke, your head and arm triangle, everything from a front heel lock. Is this a part of your arsenal that we haven't really seen you submit from your back?
Absolutely. The game plan was to get him so aggressive that he wanted to use so much energy. He had me pinned up against the cage, which I'm sure a lot of people were unsure of. But I had him in a can opener situation, which I use with a lot of different jiu-jitsu people, which takes a lot of energy out of them. I'm a veteran in the sport. I have a lot of experience. And I had a lot of hay stacked in that barn ready for it to go round 5. And I just kept my composure. And as soon as I felt that submission sink in, whether it was the arm bar, he reversed it. I knew it was going to be there all day. I had my feet on his hips. I just knew he was going to put a lot of forward pressure, and there was the triangle. Listen to the corners, and that was it.
Yeah, well, Tony, first of all, congratulations, man. You know, I always like watching you fight. You went in there, you had a beautiful performance. Early on, you seemed to have your eye was bothering you a little bit. It seemed like you maybe got poked in the eye or hurt with a punch. What was going through your head there, and how bad was it bothering you early in that fight?
I couldn't really see on about this way, about halfway out of my eye. Stuff happens in a fight. I mean, it is what it is. But a lot of experience that I have, I knew how to weather the storm. And he was just going to keep putting forward pressure. I knew he was going to try to take me down. And this isn't wrestling. I don't care about the takedowns. Go ahead and take him down, and you're going to stuff some elbows. You're going to feel everything that I'm going to have in my guard.
Well, Tony, you and I were working together the night you and Kevin kind of kicked off your rivalry here on the air, and you seemed to really be talking to him during the fight as well. How much smack talk, how much of his smack talk maybe bothered you at all before this fight, and what were you saying to him during the fight?
Well, he used all that energy.
Something you're doing, do you take that into consideration throughout your training camp? Do you take time for yourself? Because you seem to be a really, powerfully willed person, and I respect you for that, man. You come in here, you say you're going to get things done, so my hat's off to you, first of all, for being like that. But how is that in training? What are some of the things that maybe you do that make you so mentally strong when you get into that octagon?
Oh, man. I've mastered the basics. I've definitely mastered the basics. I've taken a lot of time to do that. But I have to do extreme types of things like take an ice bath instead of a cryo, go climb up a mountain, but instead of wearing nothing, I'm wearing a 50-pound pack. Once I get to the top, I'm doing different things that are just going to just keep it up here. I have all the tools that I need. What did Bruce Lee say? You fear the man that practices like one kick 1,000 times, not the man that knows 1,000 kicks. I have a lot in my arsenal. I have a very big toolbox, and I'm Mexican too, so I'm very willing to be able to use duct tape and brick when I have to, and really put my mind and my mental to it. So as long as
We cracked him with the left hand, and I saw him in a bit of panic, but he stayed very, very...
Nice to see that! Conor, going back to the Mayweather fight, the stoppage, in your opinion, now you've watched it back, was it early? Would you prefer to have
Adelaide Board's husband, Robert Board. That's all I'll say on that.
Right.
That's her husband. When we came face to face and we went and we done the rules thing, when Floyd was here and I was here, the ref was here, he was only staring at me. And I'm looking at him staring at me, and I'm like, I could see in the peripheral of my vision that he was just looking at me and he wasn't looking at Floyd. I was almost going to say, he's fighting as well, mate. Give him the fucking, give him a rules meeting. You know what I mean? What's going on there? Every time we tied up, he literally wrestled me off him. So, I don't know, it is what it is. I knew I was not going to get a fair shake out there. I thought it was an early stoppage. How the fuck can you stop a fight when there was no knockdowns or nothing previous? The round before, I almost had him dropped. I hurt him to the body the round before. So how the fuck can you, like round 10, then stop it like that when there's a first sign of a wobble? Nah, man, you've got to let these fights go on, so.
And
No problem. We don't know what's next. I have titles to defend as well. I deserve to see the scorecards there. I think. It was very close. 5 to 4, and then he was winning the 10th. I think 4 rounds, and then he had 5, and he was winning the 10th, and it stopped early enough. Like, tell him to look, even the referee, when he came into the bleeding dressing room, I can wrestle in clinches all day, or wrestle in grapples all day, and I was like, mate, what are you even mentioning that for? Like, it's like, and he was when he was giving the instructions, he was looking right at me.
I want a clean, clear fight. And I was almost, before we started the fight, I was almost going to say, mate, he's in the fight as well. Because he was hitting me when we were tied up as well. But I thought the ref did a great job. From
8-foot glass picture of you in his new 19 million home in Beverly Hills. Are you going to reciprocate?
I don't know. It's some house. It's some house. What I noticed from it, fair play to him. It's some porch. It's a $26 million Beverly Hills mansion. But I'm thinking, that house purchase, the tax bill off this fight, the tax bill off the previous bill, and then his good investments, I could be getting a phone call anytime soon to go again, and I'd fucking love that.
That's not out of the question. There looked like there was a lot of respect between the two of you after the fight, and even in the build-up, you were enjoying yourself. I mean, if you look back at it now, what was the most memorable or enjoyable part of the whole experience, from the deal getting done, to the crazy press tour, to the fight week itself, and the aftermath?
Cashing the check.
Can you tell us what you did clear in the end? There was reportedly 100 million.
Yeah, well, it's around that. We're still in the counting game. Some people are saying it's this, other people are saying it's that. You know, you get your show money, then you go, you gather all the other information, the gate, the pay-per-view, the sponsorship revenue, the merchandise sales. It's my first time as a promoter of an event. So it's my first time kind of diving into all of these things. So I'm building a nice little team of auditors to go in and make sure that all these numbers that people are telling me are correct. So right now we're in the counting game.
Can you comprehend, though? Have you sort of sat there with your family, with Dee, and just said, this is a lot of money? I mean, what do we even do with this amount of money? Yeah, what do you invest in? What do you buy? Have you even splurged out on anything
You know,
yet?
here's the thing. I'm only starting.
Yeah.
I'm only starting. Honestly, I'm only warming up here. I was already set. I was already number 24 on the Forbes list this year. 34 million I made this year. You know, so I was okay. It wasn't like I won the lotto and I was like, yeah. I actually haven't even touched the money of it yet.
Yeah.
I'm more kind of, I've been more studying the contest, realizing that I could have won that fucking fight, and then just been, and sitting back and just having to take it on the chin.
Yeah.
I got B. I feel I could have won, but hey. So as far as the money, I'm just kind of chilling with it, figuring it out, and then looking to see what's next from a competitive standpoint.
Well, let's talk about that. So I was going to sort of come to that at the end, but you brought up the fact you want to defend your lightweight belt. You've never actually defended a belt in Cage Warriors or the UFC, is that correct?
Look,
No, I don't mean like that. Just that
look,
opportunity hasn't arisen yet.
I won the featherweight and the lightweight Cage Warriors belt. Every fight is a fight. Every fight you're defending is, so you win and loss. Right now I'm sitting on a loss. That's where my fucking head is at. Although I was in a boxing fight and it wasn't a mixed martial arts fight, I'm sitting on a loss in my mind. So I'm just seeing what options are there. Yeah. An option, there's an interim belt on the line now. That's an option. Of course, the Nate Diaz trilogy. One of these boxer guys, maybe Malignaggi, maybe get him into an MMA bout, or Floyd, entice Floyd back. We can either do a rematch in boxing, or like he actually said originally, we'll do an MMA fight next. So they're the options that are on the table for me right now.
Let's have a look at all those options. So firstly, what do you think of Ferguson Lee? I mean, who've you...
Buckles above the eyebrow, dip in low and walk forward. So I was not anticipating that. I was always in sparring and preparation, dealing with the defensive fighter, the Philly